Welcome everyone back to episode 3 of Beer League Rebound podcast. Thank you again, everyone, for your support on episode 2. A lot of good feedback from that episode. You guys are helping me improve drastically, and I can't thank you all enough. It's truly surreal to me still that I'm able to do this and have an audience follow me. So thank you so much again for everyone for simply liking my Facebook page, following me on Instagram, Twitter, just commenting. I'm able to look at all of that. I read it all. So thank you so much. And let's keep this train rolling. I'm having some fun with this. I feel like I'm bringing more energy to the table each time now. So it's great. We have our first interview as well on this show. I'm going to play that halfway through this episode. But get ready. Great interview with Tori. Let's start off with some hockey news, some sad hockey news. But today does mark the day I'm recording. Marks 2 years from the Humboldt Broncos accident. I still remember to this day how horrible that was. I couldn't imagine being on anything like that. I still get chills when I see stuff, online, and make sure we're all thinking of those guys constantly. All the trainers, Tyler, the radio host, everyone who is involved with that situation. It's such a crazy, crazy, crazy situation, and thankfully that we've had some positives come out of it, with some players recovering, Grayson Cameron going back to Humboldt and, being a captain for them and all that. Just true leadership by him, and just anyone who's able to work past something like that, kudos to you. And let's just always, keep them in our prayers and memories of that tragic day that happened. So I just kind of wanted to start off with that by remembering those guys. So folks, I got some kind of exciting news. Now don't hold me to it. It's just stuff I've been reading on Twitter with everything going on. But there is rumor, like I'm gonna stress this again. There is rumor that Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the place where I was born, has the potential of becoming a quarantine city for the NHL. Now, let me kind of explain that to you. So I was listening to the Rod Peterson show. I'm a big fan of that show. Yeah, I've been following Rod for a very long time, and I truly look up to him. Anyways, I was listening to the Rod Peterson show, and they're talking about the NHL has reached out and is trying to discuss on how they can have Saskatoon as a quarantine city for the NHL to continue. Now, I'm going to give what my own personal opinion and what I've talked to others about. If this is to happen, that would be absolutely insane. And I know what, part of me, and maybe it's the optimistic in me, I could see it happening. Reason being I could see it happening is, Saskatchewan city, province of 1 million people. The Saskatoon, the whole layout of it, the airport is right beside the arena, and they have hotels and whatever takeout food that we're able to accommodate for this time. So I think if that happens, the media is starving right now for hockey. Everyone's starving for hockey right now. So I'm not surprised that an idea like this has been getting tossed around, as crazy as it is. Because the thing of the idea of hockey having a 0.1% chance of coming back is so satisfying to hear. And I was thinking, because I was talking about this with some family and friends, and personally, me, I don't see why this can't happen if and let me clarify, if all the players are healthy, they're all well to go, trainers are well to go, coaches, and that's it. And whatever camera people are there, and that's it. No fans, make sure the refs are all healthy. The reason why I think this could work is the WWE right now is still going on. You got guys and girls going into a wrestling ring, grabbing each other, and flipping each other around and, doing all the wrestling stuff. So why the hell can't there be some hockey, in my opinion? Like, let's figure this out. They held a WrestleMania, which, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the biggest wrestling events every year, with no fans. Now, as much as that would suck, they still did it, and they still were able to broadcast it. And I imagine their pay-per-view sales are through the roof right now. So just imagine, folks, if we all lived in this kind of fantasy world. I'm talking to some of you right now, but if it does happen, imagine how crazy that would be watching the NHL again. But it's just held at one area for all the games. Now, I don't know if they'd hop into playoffs or regular season. I don't know how any of that would be determined. Like I said, I think it's a very far-fetched idea, but the smallest bit of me is very excited. The day I heard this, I personally could not stop smiling. So as I also have mentioned on here, Trump also had a press conference with all major league teams where he's wanting fans back in August and September. Now, the reason why I made note of that is I think that's going to be very difficult to do. Just with how many cases there are and everything else going on. If we're able to reach that goal, I think that would be spectacular, knowing that we were able to slow down the virus and everything else. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not about to start getting into the science and specifics behind this virus. I'm just saying, if we're able to, reach that goal for sports and start generating some revenue that way, I think that'd be fantastic. But I think there is a good chance, in my own personal opinion, of sports making a return, but with no fans. So just imagine the TV ratings and everything else going on for that. It'd be insane if that was to happen. Like I said, very far-fetched idea, but it got me excited. Someone who's not so far-fetched with it, I shouldn't say that, but Milan Lucic came out and discussed how he's losing hope for the season to continue. And like I said last episode of Robin Leonard, no one wants to hear that. It's very difficult to hear. But, obviously these NHL guys are getting better information day by day than what we are. So he's not optimistic, but he did in his, I was reading it off the score, he did mention if they have to play in front of empty fans, he has no problem with playing in front of empty fans. So that's what I'm saying, folks. If the Saskatoon idea, as crazy as it is, if it could work, who would be down? Are you guys down for that? I'm personally, I've been talking about it for how long. I'm super excited about the idea. And as Milan Lucic mentioned, if they have to play in front of empty fans, they got to. I mean, the poor guy played for Edmonton for 2 years, not making playoffs, on a team that's making playoffs right now, even though Edmonton's making playoffs as well this year. Doesn't matter. Either way, has his chance at going to the playoffs and gets that stripped away. I feel like he's the type of guy who's going to want that chance again and, go on a playoff run. Who doesn't want to watch some playoff hockey? It absolutely kills me still to know that we're in April and playoffs will be starting here in like 2 weeks, not even. It just, it sucks. But the Saskatoon thing, if it happens, that'd be a treat. But for the meantime, I don't know if any of you have been keeping up with what EA Sports has been trying to do, but they're trying to still have some fun. A lot of simulation games and all that. They did a simulation of like the Battle of Alberta, the last game of the year, which it's kind of funny how everyone's craving this type of entertainment right now, but they're watching a video game. They're not even personally playing a video game. They're watching a video game and seeing what would happen. And it's fun to watch. I personally haven't sat down to watch it, but I love watching, the small highlights from it and all that. It's generating in, a bunch of crowd. Like, older people who may not understand EA Sports before, the video games and all that, they're coming on and they're watching this because it's some form of entertainment. So I just kind of wanted to make that point because I thought that was very interesting that they were able to, incorporate a fun way to engage everyone. Because that's what I keep trying to talk about on this podcast is these NHL guys during this quarantine right now, third week, and are still engaging everyone, which I think is awesome. All major leagues are trying to do something like that. So, but I think, I think it's time I send it over to the interview with Tori. Like I said, this was a great interview. We got to learn a lot about women's hockey, college hockey for that matter. What was it like being in Ontario during this whole quarantine when it first started? Because I don't know if any of you kept up, but Ontario's kind of going crazy right now. And, hope my prayers goes out to everyone with all this. But anyways, to focus on the good. And so I'm going to send it over towards Tori's interview now. I'd like to introduce the first guest to the BLR podcast, Tori Chenier. She started playing hockey at the age of 6 years old and played for her local association, Grand Prairie Minor Hockey Association. From there in Bantam and Midget, she played AAA for the Peace County Female Club. During this time, she won Alberta Cup tournament when she's in grade 9, and her team went undefeated in the tournament. She joined the Old College Broncos after attending spring camp in 2016 and ended up signing with the team. Tori then played 3 years with the Broncos, and just this past season, Tori just got done playing with the Windsor Lancers in Ontario. It brings me such joy to bring Tori Chenier to the Beer League Rebound podcast. Welcome, Tori, and thanks again for coming on.
What's up, Bryce? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you joined. How's your self-quarantine going?
I am currently with only my parents. So, yeah, it's been about a week of that after a 41-hour solo 3-day trip across Canada. So it's been different, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to actually kind of ask you, what was it like being in Ontario with kind of everything going crazy there? It's not as bad here in Alberta as it is in Ontario, so were you kind of happy to kind of get out of there?
Yeah, it was weird because my dad was actually supposed to fly in, and I kind of told him, I don't think that by the time your flight is supposed to come, you're going to be able to, so I think I need to go now. So we made the decision late Sunday night, and I ended up leaving Tuesday morning, so it was very weird. I was very happy to get out because it is so populated compared to Alberta, so there's a big spike there, so I just wanted to be home with my family and not 3,000 kilometers away from them.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't blame you on that one. It's getting crazy over there. So
yes.
Glad in Alberta. And
thank you. How's your quarantine going?
Oh, it's going good. It's a very busy household. We have my nephew. It's just always bugging me and everything else, but
yeah,
just trying to make the best of a situation.
Yeah. Well, great to hear.
Yeah. So, all right, start this off. So you've been playing hockey for quite some time now. What got you interested in hockey?
Well, my good answer would be my family. My granddad was a goalie, a referee. My brother played hockey. My parents are so big into it. But the real answer is I was actually born in Ontario, and when I still lived there, I was a figure skater, and I seen my coach cry from my other coach. So I told my mom, I said, Jody, can you please put me in hockey? So
really?
Yeah, just I don't know, I guess I wanted to get away from the drama, maybe get out of a dress, get into the excitement.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
As a young athlete you are growing up, who did you idolize or who did you want to mimic your game after?
It's a really good question. I can't name one person. It was just hockey players in general. I thought they were so cool. Whether Olympics, NHL, even local here, I just thought this is so cool. These people get to be hockey players. So I didn't really have any specifics. I just knew that I wanted to play hockey. I wanted to be good at hockey. I wanted to, I wanted to keep playing all these years, just kept going.
That's awesome. I agree, actually. I started off with like local skating
Yeah.
as a kid,
Yeah.
because my parents were like, "You're gonna be horrible in hockey.
Yeah.
We need you to show us you can skate." Then I was able to skate,
Yeah.
and which would led me. But I remember hockey players just being
Yeah.
the coolest.
The Storm here, they had
Everyone.
a really good program. They sold out arenas, they won championships, stuff like that. So I kind of grew up watching junior A hockey players and being like, I just thought they were the coolest, even though now obviously I'm like, oh, they're my age. But when I was younger, I was just like, this is so cool. These people get to play hockey. They get to play in front of all these people. Like, anyone who played hockey, I was just like, I want to be like them.
Definitely. So growing up playing hockey, as we all know, most people find it's a very male dominant sport. But how were you able to go in as a female and then just ignore that? Just understand that you're meant to be here. You're just as talented. Obviously, in Bantam and Midget, you joined female teams, but for that time up, what was it like playing at that age?
Yeah, so
guys?
I did like to play with the boys. I still know, I'm still friends with people that I was friends with on my very first hockey team in second grade, stuff like that. But it was hard, and it'll always be hard, I think, for the time being. It was a little bit lonely. I was either the only girl or one of two girls, stuff like that. You change wherever you can, if that's a hallway, if that's next to a heater, it doesn't matter. You kind of you had to go. Obviously it's better now. There's actually girls teams, stuff like that. But no, I just pushed through. It was just the only thing I found hard was, sometimes the comments, it's like, oh, like my first practice, oh, you skate really good for a girl. Oh, like this girl shoots really good. It's like, no, like I just skate really well, not for a girl. It's just those comments get made and you're kind of like, I don't know. It's just, you're like, no, I'm just good at hockey.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
girls
definitely.
are good at hockey too. It's just different in their own way. They're good in their own way. They're good for their own game. It's just people are like, oh, you're good for a girl. It's like, okay, I'll take it. But
I couldn't agree more. Watching you guys when I got to work for the Broncos Athletics, I was telling people all the time to come watch just women's college hockey and just how much fun it actually is and how engaging it can be. So it's good to see that, you're able to push through all that and just because now it's led to bigger and better things for you.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah. So as I mentioned in my intro, you won the Alberta Cup in grade 9. Tell us a little bit how it was and what meant to you.
It is honestly probably one of my greatest hockey memories. So how they do it, I think it's a little different now just because the difference in the north and south divided in Alberta. But when I was there was 3 north teams, 3 south teams, so it was about 125 girls, so it made up like the best 125 girls in the province for like 8th and 9th grade. So I was drafted to the North Red Wings. I was fortunate enough to be on a team with, I think, 3 other people from my organization, one of which has passed away now. So that's really special to have memories with her like that. But no,
Definitely.
winning it was great. Like, we were actually the first North team to ever win it, and we went undefeated. The only, we came close to losing was a tie. So to go undefeated and to win something like that, it was crazy. We had so much fun. We were so close, and it was only a weekend, but it was just still the greatest, most fun thing I've ever done.
And tournaments are, those are always challenging to win, and especially like you said, like 120 best province girls. That's really impressive. So kudos to you on that one. So getting into some college hockey now. What was it like for you to play hockey out in Ontario this year? Was it a big change going from ACAC over to the U Sports League?
Yeah, so it definitely was a change. All I knew was, I knew a little bit about college hockey, mostly NCAA because it's kind of glorified, compared to U Sports. And even the U Sports I knew was CIS, Can West now, sorry, but stuff like that. So it definitely was different. All I knew was the ACAC. My longest travel was 2 hours. I played against girls that I had played from Bantam, Midget, my first year, second year, stuff like that. So I went to U Sports. I was, I'd never heard of UOIT before. I'm like, where are we going? I was playing teams I didn't know, girls I didn't know. So it was it was definitely a jump. The biggest thing I noticed was speed. Those girls were fast and they could shoot the puck. And it was like taking like in the ACAC, Grant Mac is a very good team. It was like playing Grant Mac every night. Like you're playing girls that can shoot hard. They're gonna put the body into you when they can, and they're gonna skate past you because they're very fast. So it was just exhibition was helpful to get used to it and get kind of like acquainted with the league. Things such as like the icing rules were different, things like that. But other than that, it was pretty fun. I had a great year. I loved it.
Yeah, it sounded like you guys had a good year and a good group, so that's awesome to hear. But you guys unfortunately went 3-21 this year. Not the outcome I imagine you guys wanted, but with it not being outcome you guys wanted, what were you able to take away from this season? Because I always found whenever you had like a shit season like that, you always learned something. You always took something away from it. So what did you feel like you took away from it?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously hard. It's also hard too. They're in a little bit of a rebuild right now. So the coach is only 2 years in youth sports, actually also coming from the ACAC. So everyone's kind of in like a little transition period, you know, everyone's getting used to it. But what I took away from it most was just like, honestly, most importantly, knowledge about myself. I got put through things this year that I never expected to go through. I never knew what was going to happen, but I learned, you know, what I can be put through, a little bit how to stick up for myself, things like that, how to push through. Because when you are in a rebuild, when you are not getting the results that you want, it's kind of like you just keep getting hit with it, and you just need, like, you learn how to just say, okay, I'm going to deal with this and just keep going, kind of thing. So I think that was the biggest thing, was personal knowledge and just how to like persevere through anything, really.
Yeah, it sounds like you took something great away from that. During the season, your guys' last win was January 25th against the Laurentian Voyagers, and you posted a 3-2 shootout win. What was it like to finally get a win in the second half of the season?
It was so great because, you know, we didn't lose for lack of effort or skill, things like that. You know, when people always knew that like Windsor's going to be a tough team to play, you know, like they're going to work hard. They're not going to give up. We would go
gritty team.
Yeah, exactly. We would be losing by 5 goals in it or something like that. We'd be going straight to, yeah, just, it was so great to get that win. Not only for the team, but for everyone involved, you know, for athletics as a whole, for the coaching staff. Everyone's working hard. Everyone wants it. It's not that we'll lose again today. It's just like, we're trying so hard. So when it finally comes, you're just like so happy. Like, thank you, God. Like,
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're like praising the hockey gods. You're like, thank you for letting this happen to me.
No, definitely. So throughout the year, you posted 2 goals and 1 assist on this season, and one of your goals was against the dominant York Lions. How special was that goal against a tough team?
Bro, you couldn't have said I had like 15 points. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was actually really special to get that one. It was funny. I'll tell you guys a story. But so I personally, like, and due to coach's feedback too, like I had a really good first half. Like the feedback I was getting was positive. How I was feeling was positive. I was starting games, you know, everything was going great. But I couldn't get points. And this is not something that is new to me. I kind of dealt with it in the ACAC a little bit too. You know, I could have got a few more than I did. Anyways, so we're on a 6-on-4. Don't know why I'm out, but it's like a couple minutes left. I'm gassed. I'm dead. I'm dying, deceased on the ice. I put my head down because I somehow got the puck at our hash marks. I bank it off the boards, a complete muffin. I look up, I see this thing rolling on its side from the top of their circles into the net, and the whole time I'm just thinking, this is not my first OUA. My OUA is not an empty net. But either way, you know, it was special, and I think what made it special is the girls just got up for it. That was actually the second empty net goal, like first goal. A girl from Calgary had got one like a couple minutes before me, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, even then it was just special. Like the girls made it special. Like, holy shit, you scored your first one. It's like, guys, it was an empty net, and they're like, doesn't matter, it still counts. Like, so I think
Goal's a goal.
Exactly. I just think that's what made it special. But I was laughing at myself. I'm like, oh goodness, this is my first OUA.
That's awesome though.
Yeah.
So what are your plans for hockey next year? I believe you have one more year of eligibility left.
I do. So in Canada you get 5 years, in America you get 4. I'm actually newly retired. Yes, I have made the decision to. I'm going to be a lawyer when I'm older, so I do have a lot of school ahead of me, especially since the programs I was taking at Olds College don't exactly tie into criminology or a law degree, so I kind of had to start new. So I'm 21. You know, I've never really worked other than in the summer. I've mostly been dedicating my time to hockey and stuff like that. So I'm not going to really get into too much of the details, but just a couple things this last year kind of made me realize that collegiate hockey was probably my last stop was Windsor, and I'd rather work and do school and just kind of get my life started, just being a 21-year-old and stuff like that. So I actually was I contacted the Alberta Junior A Female League. It's kind of for people who don't want to play collegiate, or they played a couple years of collegiate and want to just keep playing somewhere. So I actually have another year of eligibility there. So I think it's Calgary Jags, I think it's called. It's just a Calgary-based team, so I'll be playing there while going to school. Well, hopefully once I get accepted. But
where'd you apply?
I did apply at MRU, but this whole coronavirus has kind of, I don't know. I don't think there's too much action going on at the schools and stuff, and they might be a little backed up. So I'm just giving it a little bit of time.
Slow down for everyone.
Yeah, I'm just giving it a little bit of time, but fingers crossed, hopefully. So.
Well, that's awesome that you're gonna still play with the other team, and congrats on the early.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll talk about. I want to talk about your last season with the Old College Broncos. You posted 6 goals and 3 assists for a combined total of 9 points in 14 games, and you were, if I'm not mistaken, captain of the team. How important was that season in Olds for you? Did this season help you get recruited to the Lancers?
Okay, that was a little bit more points. Not as embarrassing. No.
There you go.
So I was co-captain. So there's 24 games in the season. I wore for 12 of them I wore captain. So yeah, that was a great year. It was big for Windsor. Unknown to me, after I'd already signed for my 3rd year, the coach had made the transition from Nate in the ACAC to Windsor and had reached out to my coach. But I made a commitment to Olds, and that's where I wanted to be. So I spent my 3rd year there. When it did get brought up to me, I still made the decision, no, I'm going to go to Olds. I signed here, stuff like that. So that year was big, obviously, because I think I signed with Windsor in December, pretty early. So she definitely could watch me, have eyes on me, stuff like that throughout the year. So a little bit of pressure to be kind of that top player, that top athlete in the gym, the top academic, stuff like that. But what also really helped me was, like I said, how she was a coach in the ACAC. She actually recruited me out of 12th grade to go to Nate, and I obviously ended up going to Olds. But so she had already known me, and then when I played my first 2 years of Olds, she had watched me play there, so she kind of knew who I was, so that helped too.
Understood your style and all that.
Yeah, she knew how it was to play against me, but also how I was as a person, stuff like that, just from our conversations. Also, my coach, who entered in my 2nd year, had just made the transition from he's actually from literally 20 minutes away from Windsor, so he made the transition from assistant coach for 4 years at Windsor to the head coach at Olds College. So he still has a really good relationship with the program and people in athletics, stuff like that. So he kind of helped me too, like he
That's
said,
awesome.
Yeah, he brought it up to me, said, is this something that you'd like? I said, yeah. He goes, okay, I'll text her. So he's very helpful. He's very helpful with everyone. He's gotten multiple people to the U Sports level. So pretty cool. Like Jadlyn Spooner was there. What's up, Spoons? So that was another big thing, was someone that I had played with at Olds College and lived with at Olds College was also going to be there. So she helped too.
Your homie.
Oh, yeah, my brother.
So your last year with the Broncos was the first year of making playoffs for ACAC. How special was that? Even though you guys got eliminated in the first round, it must have felt good to get over that hump.
Yeah, so I think actually my second year might have been the first playoffs. Because I think it was
what's the second year?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I got that wrong.
Sorry, I should have caught that too. So Chris came in, he just made such a big impact that second year. I don't think a lot of people realize, but Olds College women's hockey is only a year older than my eligibility. So when I was a first year, it was only the second year in program history. So by the time
fresh.
Yeah. So by the time Chris came in, he still had, a 2-year program that was brand new. So he really came in, he made really positive changes, and he broke barriers. He got us more points than we had gotten in program history. He got us to playoffs, and he's still doing stuff like that. He in my third year, he got us to that too. This last year, he just got named ACAC Coach of the Year. So big things coming out of Olds, really.
It's
Grant
keeping up with it's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And Grant McEwen's going to be leaving the league to go into Can West U Sports. So there'll be a little bit of a little bit maybe not easier competition, but they're such a dominant force in the league that it might be easier for the remaining 4 teams to kind of have a little bit more experience.
Give someone else a championship.
Yeah, they have won the last 3 years, and I don't know about this year, obviously, but they could have potentially won the 4th year in a row. Men's and women's have won last 3 years there, so.
Yeah. So out of the 4 years of playing college hockey, which season would you say has been your favorite?
Oh, man, my first was so fun. Unknown to me, I moved across the hall in the dorms from my best friend, Catalina Mixer Heartland. What's up, brother? Shout out. And then obviously school, I met people like you and our boy Austin. Another great human. Just that first year gave me so many amazing, experiences, relationships. It was my first year away from home. I was 17. When I was in high school, 10th, 11th, 12th, I never thought I'd be playing college hockey. I always wanted to play college hockey, but I never reached out to coaches. I never had schools that wanted me. So I kind of just thought it wasn't an option. So I think when I did move away and did sign, I had the best year I possibly could. And honestly, it's right next to Alberta Cup. It's probably one of the best years. Mixer and I always talk about, man, that first year in Olds, that was so fun.
That first year was
so much fun.
And we didn't get along in the first bit too, but it was a fun year.
Oh God, yeah. But once we all moved in, it was fun.
Exactly. It was that was my favorite year of school as well. The second year was fun, but that first year just getting to know everyone was great.
I had you as my neighbor, and I had Mixer across the hall from me. It was just crazy. It was so fun.
The hallway hangouts.
Oh yeah, we'd literally sit 10 people in the hallway at night and hello. Why are we doing this? But I mean,
so good.
We're in a town of 8,000 people, so that's probably all we could do.
The thing is, I actually love that town.
Me
now
too.
I'm we used to rag on it at first, but now I'm I love going to Olds.
Windsor was
so many good memories.
Windsor was through 300,000 people, I think the sign said, and Olds was 8,000. I'm like, man, y'all don't party like Olds. Y'all don't. Olds did this. What, you guys don't know what Bender Week is? It was crazy.
Olds was so much fun.
So much fun. But yeah, that first year was just what a time in my life.
So, Tori, one of my goals with this podcast is to shed all forms of light on hockey, including women's hockey. We kind of talked about that already, but unfortunately, as we all know, people like to talk it down, and some have never experienced a women's college game. What's one thing you can tell the listeners that's very unique about women's hockey and why you believe it should be recognized more?
Yeah, women's hockey definitely is not getting some of the recognition that they deserve. We have women beating NHL players in NHL All-Star competitions. We have literally they're going to show people how to do it, and then they end up winning it. So that I think is a big eye opener for a lot of people. Like, holy, this girl, like Kendall Coyne Schofield or whatever, she skated the fastest lap. That other girl hit the targets as fast as she could. Like, it was just crazy, right? And you have NHL players, Austin Matthews, like Biz Nasty, people like that. They're praising these women for how athletic and how great they are at hockey, and then you go online and it's like a video of a Team Canada woman, and it's like the comments are like, oh, but does she make a good PB&J? Or like, oh, but she's a girl, like oh, she only hit the cross, like, stuff like that, so
it's so ugly, and it's
is
not needed, because like I said, after working with the women's hockey again to see it firsthand and everything, you guys do so much for the game, so
yes,
thank you for that.
Yeah, and honestly, I dare any listener to go just find a women's hockey post on TSN or something, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and read the comments. Like, you will be disgusted. So I think if someone who hadn't seen a game before, women's game before, I think I would tell them, like, the body contact and the speed, they tie into each other, obviously, but those are probably the most surprising things. Like, you hear, oh, women can't wear visors, they only wear cages, and they don't have body contact. Like, I've seen, like, obviously they're not as hard as men's hits and not as often, but I have seen some girls, like, die. Like,
your first year, you got
literally, I got open ice, ran over. Yeah, no, that is not my first or last time. So, like, that's a regular occurrence, like, it's not a big blow up like a men's game with a fight coming, or it's not a huge open ice hit, but there is body contact, and like the refs do let a lot go. And tying into that is the speed. So when you're defending or you want the puck, you can't just blow this girl up to take the puck off her. You actually have to take it from her, or outwork her, something like that. And same as when you're on the offense, you have to think, okay, how am I using my speed and my skills to get around this girl, stuff like that, so I don't know if that makes sense, but like the speed and the body contact is just the biggest surprises, I think, to people who haven't seen the game before.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you were able to shed some light on it. And lastly, so since you aren't going to be doing hockey now, are you still what are your summer plans if this quarantine and goes away?
It's so hard because Mixer, as I mentioned before, we were actually supposed to be coming down to your neck of the woods, moving to Calgary May 1st. Like, my mom was about to put money on an apartment and everything, and then we got quarantined and isolated and stuff like that. So we don't really want to make any decisions yet, because we don't want to move and not have jobs or stuff like that. I don't even know if we're allowed to move right now, but so I think most of my plans, much like the apartment, are probably canceled. Like, I'd love to go to the Calgary Stampede, stuff like that, but I think it's all going to be very last minute. I'm also not one to jeopardize any of the vulnerable population, so I'm trying to do my best, go to the grocery store when you need. If I'm bored,
social distance.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, my plans just depend, I guess, but hopefully we'll be able to get up to Calgary. We could chill. We could have some Pink Whitney.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe Austin will show up.
Yeah, no, Austin's down. I know he's down for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It'll be so fun. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Quarantine kind of got us all messed up.
It really does.
Yeah.
Well, Tori, I want to thank you for coming on and giving us this half-hour segment talking about women's hockey, your time with it. I'm definitely going to have you on again. It was great. I felt we were all able to take away something that you're, able to shed some light on it, and able to have fun with the game still at this. Glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
All that. And, kudos.
Yeah. I just want to say also thank you for shining light on it. This is obviously another platform that people can listen about women's hockey, listen from a women's hockey player. So without stuff like this, it wouldn't be advancements in the game. So I just want to thank you for that, and for having me on. If you need any, let me know. I'll be putting the word out about this as much as I can. So hopefully you get a little boost there, a little chicklets bump. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Much needed. Yeah, no, we're just gonna wrap this up here, but Do you want any of your social media left in the
Sure,
description for
yeah.
this? Or?
If you're hot,
Yeah, all right,
you
perfect.
can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. You know, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you can put it out there.
Alrighty. All right. So this is Tori Chenier. Thanks for
Thank you
joining
so
us.
much. Bye-bye.
Just wanted to give a big thanks again to Tori Chenier for joining the Beer League Rebound podcast. It was absolutely great to have her on. She brought a lot of good insight, as I keep mentioning, to women's hockey and how exciting it is. So it was great talking to her, catching up with her, and everything else. So, as I mentioned in my last podcast, I like doing these top 5 moments. I feel like it gets everyone kind of engaged with everything. You guys tell me yours, and then I come on here and tell you my top 5 and why they're my personal top 5. I didn't mention any honorable mentions in this one. I'm just going strictly off my top 5. There are a bunch of honorable mentions, but I feel like that could be almost be a 4-hour book of me talking about honorable mentions. So we're gonna just keep it to my top 5. So obviously, starting up with my number 1 top 5 sport moment, the golden goal, 2010 Vancouver Olympics. Now, folks, I still get chills listening to the goal, watching the goal, and that whole play is absolutely insane. Bounce off the left foot, Iggy keeps it in, Iggy falling down. Crosby yells Iggy as loud as he can. Crosby's on a terrible angle. Just shoots just to see what happens, and that's what decides the game. I still get starstruck talking about it, especially Joe McGinley making that unreal pass to Crosby. Golden goal. Everyone's still talking about that to this day. It's that isn't your top 1, or at least in your top 5. I feel like you're almost un-Canadian. That sport moment is absolutely unreal, and it's going to go on for decades and decades. There's no way it's not. So starting off with my second one. So as I mentioned in my intro, talking about Saskatoon, born there, I'm obviously a big Saskatchewan guy, which also means big CFL guy, which means let's go Riders. So for my second top 5 sport moments, I got my 2007/2013 Grey Cup champions. Now I know I'm breaking my own rules again by mentioning 2, but I felt like they fit the same category, just like how Rocky fit in that same category as well. So I'm gonna roll with that again. The 2007 Grey Cup championship was the first time I've ever witnessed the Riders win a Grey Cup. Absolutely one of the best feelings being young to watch your team finally do it. As we beat Winnipeg 23-19 that year in 2007, and I'll never forget how excited my family was, and the small province of Saskatchewan, how much that truly meant to us. And that was the same for our 2013 year when we won as well, with our absolutely stacked team. Our team was gross, actually, of how stacked it was. We won the championship that year by beating Hamilton 45-23 in Regina. Darian Durant just knew what he had to do that game, and that's still one of the best games I've ever witnessed on TV. Not gonna say live because that comes on down later in my list, but that was truly unreal to witness both of those Grey Cup champs. And Grey Cup is supposed to be in Regina this year, but see what happens with COVID-19, if it wants to let up or not. I hope it does, because God, that'd be awesome to watch the Riders do it at the new home stadium. We got to get a playoff window at that stadium. We struggle with that right now. But third is the World Juniors. Now, this is another thing. If the World Juniors aren't in your top 5, are you Canadian? 2000, but in particular, the 2009 semifinal versus Russia. Now, folks, I love watching the World Juniors every year. I love watching it with my grandfather, with my mom, dad, like the whole family. I love watching it with everyone, friends. And the reason why it brings Canada together during Christmas time. And honestly, I get more excited for World Juniors than Christmas. And that semifinal in 2009 with Jordan Eberle scoring the tying goal with 6 seconds left and getting a shootout winner. I believe he got the winner. I forgot. I watched the highlight yesterday. But regardless, he gets a shootout goal as well. Truly, that one was insane. And we went on to win gold that year. We went on a 5-year tear up to 2009. Unreal. The last World Juniors as well, that was very exciting to watch with those guys in the Czech Republic. I love watching every year. Like, all the World Juniors were pretty much like my top 3, but that's a lot of World Juniors. So if I had to list one, it definitely is that Jordan Eberle, 6 seconds left goal. Just a crazy, crazy game. I was watching highlights yesterday, and that game, there's 20 minutes left in the third, and it was 3-2 for Canada. And that game ended 6-5. Insane. Oh, that was such a good memory. He's best, one of the best top 5s for sure. Now, this one is a live game that I've been to, and it has to do with my Rough Riders again. In 2007, I got to go experience my first Rough Riders game. Now, when most people get to go experience their first game, it's, usually it tends to go super well. And with my situation, it went super well, but in a very weird, odd way. So, being from Saskatchewan, it's hot out there during the summer, prairie heat, which means a lot of wicked storms at night. Now, this game, it got rain delayed in the fourth quarter. The Rough Riders were down 32-27 after starting to slowly come back throughout the game because we were getting our ass whooped in the beginning. And we still slowly started to climb back up and get back close within Edmonton. Then I believe it was like the very beginning of the fourth quarter. The referee saw a huge lightning bolt. Refs pulled the guys off the field. Within 3 minutes of the guys leaving the field, boom, lights out. Absolutely insane. I forget how old I was at this time. I would have been 10. Yeah, 9 or 10. Insane. I'm standing there. It was the craziest storm I think I've still seen to this day. It's going through, and everyone's leaving, but not our family. We are there for the game, and we waited 59 minutes exactly for that game to come back on. And sure shit, as soon as that game came back on, the Riders complete the comeback with a 39-32 win. Absolutely insane. And the craziest part about that was they still said that the game was sold out, 28,000 people. There's still 15,000 people left for the remaining of the fourth quarter. This is Saskatchewan, like I keep stressing. A province of 1 million people. We love our football. We're so committed to that team. And I know everyone loves to rag on the CFL, and everyone has their own opinion, so I'll give them that. But I love the CFL. Big fan of it. Won't talk about too much on here. We're just kind of doing this whole sports segment. But I had to bring that up. Me seeing that personally live was insane. So now my last one. Now, what's interesting about my last one is I personally was not a basketball guy. But like five years ago, I knew the sport. My cousin played it. I personally didn't get really involved with basketball. It wasn't until I went to Olds, and where my friend Josh and Austin got me involved with basketball. So as I started watching more basketball, getting involved, getting to know the players, and don't quote me, I've not a spectacular remember everything basketball wise, but I started to enjoy it. I thought the games were really exciting. Watching March Madness and all that was awesome. But my last one has to go out to last year's 2019 Toronto Raptors win. That whole playoff run was insane. And watching that happen for Canada for the first time was insane. It was, Golden State didn't get to win their championship, but the game I want to bring up, and everyone knows, anyone who was following it last year knows it. This game against the 76ers, Game 7, buzzer beater by Kawhi Leonard. Absolutely insane shot by him, and the ball bouncing, back and forth on the hoop, and it finally sank in. Oh, that was the biggest hump that for Canada to keep continuing on as a whole, like the Raptors as a whole, to keep going on into that playoffs, which I think we were able to carry on and, obviously end up winning the championship. So I had to give credit to that as a top 5 sports moment. Just starting to get involved in basketball. Then last year, watching it with my brother, like, holy crap, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, insane. And, it's nice because, everyone knows hockey for Canada and how proud we are of hockey. And, that's our thing. But it was nice to see Canada really rally around the Raptors during that time. And there was also playoff hockey during that time, too. So it was like you're flipping back and forth on the television screen. It was awesome, though. So much fun watching that series. So that's my top 5 sport moments. My own, like I said, my own personal opinions. If you guys want to see what others have to say for those sport moments and all that, like I said, just follow the Facebook page or whatever social media pages, and comment on it, and then you can see what other people say, and have some chats about it, and talk about why that's your favorite and all that as well. I really want to build that connection with you guys and get close. Mine is just talking, so feel free to keep doing that type of stuff. Now, I'm going to do another top 5. I think for this top 5, we're going to just dedicate it to this 2019-2020 season. I want your top 5 fights from this year. This, personally, this 2019-2020 season for the NHL was spicy, in my opinion. It was getting good. The Battle of Alberta was back. Guys were ready to rip each other's heads off. It was entertaining. As a fan, you were engaged every game. My friend Jeff took me to the Boston game in Calgary and absolutely lost it when I saw Kachuk slip off his glove getting ready to fight. So we got to go with the top 5 fights you've seen from this year. There's a goalie fight. It was insane this year. So comment down your top 5 fights from this year on one of our social media platforms. And so this is going to wrap up, actually, this episode. I hope you all enjoyed the longer episode of the interview. Whenever I have these interviews, these episodes are going to be longer because I still want to have my segment talking to you guys, but I also want you guys to be able to, enjoy a good interview. So, longer episode. Hope you will enjoy it. And I look forward to talking to you all next week. Stay safe. Wash your hands. And take care. And feel free to reach me at all my social media platforms if you have any of your top 5 fight moments. Awesome. Thanks, guys.